Welcome to the Generational Talk podcast with Hal Donahue and Kristen Batista Frazee. Hal is a boomer. Kristen is Gen X. Conversations have a generational viewpoint.
Welcome back to Generational Talk. This is episode 8, and I'm here with Hal. How you
And we're
doing?
ready to go. I'm
Ready to go.
doing
It's been
great.
a while. I know we've not done one of these. We've been so busy with our various tasks and things that we're doing. But we
It's
should.
only going to ramp up. It's only going to get worse and worse. And we've got to just get some time to tell people what's happening with
I know.
us.
Exactly. So let's just get into it. Let's start with our best and worst. And oh no, I'm sorry. I messed that up. I messed that up. What's on your mind? We'll do our segment, What's on Your Mind. You want to go
I'll go
first?
first because it's a strange one. It's about the U.S. Civil War. There was a letter to the editor in the Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania paper. I think it's the Press Enterprise that took an interesting approach. They started talking about the Civil War monument in their downtown Main Street. It's a big one. I've seen it. And went segued onto a book about the Civil War, letters from soldiers on both sides, the Confederacy and the Union. And from the book, the author of the letter said it was pretty clear that there was a huge difference between what drove the Union soldiers and the Confederate soldiers. From the letters, the Union side and the Union letters, it was all about the cause and building a bigger nation and bringing everything together. And on the Confederate side, much as MAGA now, I want to say, it was about only me and mine and keeping the Yankees away.
I find that fascinating. And just as you were sharing that story, it kind of made me think about Abraham Lincoln, and that was a lot of his rhetoric, not rhetoric, but he constantly reiterated those goals for the war, right? Like
You
if
could
you
see
read,
it in the Gettysburg Address.
yeah, I mean that was a constant refrain by President Lincoln that keeping the Union together was important and must be done, and it's for the good of the nation, and so that's very the troops, the Union troops, that's very reflective of his messaging. Huh?
But you segued to today, and I think it started with Ronnie Reagan. The federal government is your enemy, not your friend. Where prior to that, look askance at the federal government, that quote, "We're here to help you" thing. But they relied on it and understood, just coming out of the war and the Great Depression, they knew the impact that the federal government could have for good or evil.
I
And
think, yeah, Americans have a complicated relationship with the federal government, right?
yeah, exactly. But it worked. Then Reagan came along and they start dismantling all that work. And we're left essentially with the skeleton and probably some of the dumbest people in our history in charge.
Yeah, certainly now, and the up and down, going back to the analogy of the up and down relationships that America has had with the federal government. The federal government has the power to do great things and have a great impact, like they did during the Great Depression, um, and at other times in our history, and they have the potential to do great damage too. And if you think about, the federal government's lies that have gotten us into, many wars, starting with Vietnam and the Iraq
Let's
War,
go
and now
back
in
to the
Iran.
Spanish American War.
Right, right. So, it's no wonder that sometimes Americans can be confused about, what it is what exactly do we want from our federal government. It's like sometimes we're in a bad relationship, right? sometimes we're in an abusive relationship with the federal government. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's an awesome relationship. I think it just really depends.
But
Depends on who
there's
the
a
president is.
selfish virus running through this country. There really is, and there has been. And I think it goes all the way back to slavery. If you look at the South before the Civil War, they had very few roads, canals, railroads, because they wanted to make it difficult on the slaves and they wanted to halt change. What really beat them was the Northeast industry and the canals, the railroads, the roads, and the ability to move people.
Right?
And today we're still fighting about the same silly things. And perhaps it's because what I consider Obama's number one sin is we're going to look forward, not back. I put to you, based on what we've seen to date in Iran or Iran, however it's properly said, and Israel, and even here at home with Doge, we- we've lost we've lost so much just not cleaning house. We need to clean house. I mean, I'm a child of the 60s. I drove through the South back in segregation and listened to the speeches. I
Wow.
listened late night on the highways driving from point A to point B.
Wow.
I listened to the religious preachers talking about how God made the races to be separate. And it was, to my Yankee heart, outrageous.
Yeah.
But it's the way it was. I had a friend of Greek extraction who went to Tampa working for his uncle on a roofing project, came back up via bus to Pennsylvania and got beat up somewhere in the
Oh
Carolinas
my God.
because the sun had turned him brown. He drank in the white water fountain and they beat him up so bad he wound up in the hospital.
Oh, that's a terrible story.
But I mean, that stuff, that's that's part of our background that we
Yeah.
hide.
So
My 2 cents.
would you say we have to look backward to go forward?
Yes, I'd
Yeah.
say we need a truth commission. I mean, that's what Germany did. They looked at how they got the Nazis in power, how the Nazis stayed in power, and pledged never ever to do it again.
Yes. We probably will need to go through a similar process.
I mean, we have to if we're going to survive
Yeah.
250 years, because right now we are not a democracy.
No, no, we're not, and it's very scary. But I guess that kind of leads me to what's on my mind. Is, as you touch on some of our awful history related to how we treated people of color, the New York Times was reporting that the Miami area office uh, down here, the immigration office kind of leads the nation in arrests, 10,000 arrests from mid-December until the beginning of March. So, and that's definitely being felt. I'm still down here in the Florida Keys, and um, the detentions are happening. We are not experiencing a surge, so to speak, or a regular operation. It's just been a steady ratcheting up of the detaining of immigrants down here. So that's been really on my mind, and we've talked. I do some local work down here, and it's been difficult to try to get the data, and the arrests are happening so quickly, and the detentions, you can't, people don't even believe it's happening because it's happening so quickly, but they are, and the data is proving it, with this Miami office with nearly 10,000 arrests from mid-December to March.
Well, that area is sparsely populated. Don't they miss the immigrants and the workers? I mean,
When they are detained, yes, that does happen. Quite a hole. But what I'm also sensing is a lot of fear. People don't want to talk about it for fear of some sort of retaliation. The state governor, Santos, is sent, an extreme chilling effect down here. DeSantis is willing to oust people from office who go against the state's policy or even speaks out on that. We've heard that as a reason why some local officials are very hesitant to speak out, against the immigration policy. There was a little bit of a crack that happened a couple weeks ago. There's a state immigration council that Governor DeSantis had established here in the state, and a Polk County sheriff recently stated that the immigration policy was detrimental to law enforcement down here, and that was the first real crack that I had seen.
As a former cop, I know it is.
Yeah, and then, of course, that Polk County sheriff, I wish I could remember the sheriff's name at the moment, but started to backtrack, but not totally backtrack. And then the Monroe County sheriff down here, Rick Ramsey, concurred somewhat that yes, this has been difficult, and is not super effective. So I saw it as a glimmer of hope there, but that's kind of what's been going on down here regarding ICE and the immigrants detention.
As someone who talked to so many Germans that survived World War II, it sounds exactly like that. I don't want to cause any trouble because my farm will get burnt down, I'll get arrested, I'll get whatever. And well, it's on a national scale, not just a Florida scale,
Right.
because I mean, that's supposedly one of the reasons Bondi got canned.
Really. I mean, there's a lot of reasons probably why she got
Yeah,
canned,
but
but
she wasn't aggressive enough. I mean,
yeah,
DeSantis and Florida are leading the world or the country in this switch to fascism.
yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's sad but true, and I think what our small group always talks about is we just continue to need to find the cracks. 'Cause they're there. I mean,
And put a wedge in them and kind of push them apart.
pry them open, but they're there, but it's difficult. There are business owners who don't want to speak
Can't
out,
afford it. Yeah,
can't afford it. City council members who
should
say, well,
afford it.
so yeah, city council members that are saying, well, I'm empathetic, but there's not much we can do. And their hands are tied in a lot of regards, given the agreements that are in
They can
place down
speak
here.
out and say, we disagree.
Exactly. They have a platform. They can do it, but it's the fear that's gripped them, and that's not going to be easy to turn that around.
How's word get out down there? Do you have stations,
There,
newspapers?
yeah,
What do people? Yeah,
there are a couple small newspapers, radio, social media. There is, and the interesting part of the culture down here is there's so many people like me, snowbirds. At different times, like pretty soon, everybody's going to be going back up
right.
north.
Summer's coming. You don't want to be
Yeah,
there.
right. And so it becomes a little bit more quiet. There's not as many eyes and ears in the community. So I think that will become a lull period and make it a little bit more difficult to
Will
do
the
the work.
immigrants leave as well as the snowbirds? No, they stay.
They stay. I mean, where can they go? Really? I mean, with
Well, I don't know. I didn't.
I mean, Florida would probably be better than anywhere, but with limited resources, I think it's difficult for them to leave. So that's what's
Wow.
been on that's what's been on my mind. But now we can talk about what we're working on, which I kind of just already did. But what do you
Is this
what's
the break?
yeah, we're in the break. And honestly, I'll be honest, I forgot to do my timing for the last segment, but I'll do it this time. Um, but yeah, let's go into the break. What are you
What
working
I'm
on?
just getting a word out for vote yes up here in Virginia to get an extra Democratic seat because, as you know, we just voted up here to end gerrymandering.
Yes, I know.
Now we
I've heard
have a
that.
vote to start gerrymandering again temporarily until the next census because of what Felon Trump has done.
Which is absolutely necessary. If Virginia does not do it, if we can't get this yes vote passed, I think it's going to be, it's going to make things more difficult in the midterms.
I personally believe that if things go badly for Trump, or look like they're going badly for Trump, he'll pull some stunt where the elections are voided. I really think that he is not. He didn't leave peacefully the last time. He's not going to leave peacefully this time
I don't think I'm totally where you are, but I understand the fear. But I
because
don't, yeah.
I know the guy. He's not going to go to jail, and he realizes if the Democrats get the House, he's going to be impeached again. And the Senate could well be, not the Senate, the Supreme Court could well be adjusted.
Sure. Sure.
So if it looks like that, I don't see him allowing it to happen. But hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But
Yeah, I'm just,
he's a mobbed up guy. I know
yeah,
how the mob
yeah, I
works.
mean, I agree, but here's the thing, which I see about local, the elections in general is they're also localized. Like how hard would that be to, I know he's trying to do it. It's clear. Like there's been all this talk about, the executive orders about stopping, vote by mail and asking for, the voter data rolls. But how hard is that going to be with
He controls
elections
the
that are so
Supreme Court.
localized?
He controls the Supreme Court. He controls the Congress. He controls the military.
We'll see.
Yes,
I hope you're wrong.
me too. But on that happy note,
Yeah, so let's get into best and worst. I say you go first because we should talk. I think I know yours is about Iran. So I want to get into that.
it has to be about
And it's
Iran
mine
with my
too. It's my worst too, is Iran. So we might as
the
well talk
worst
about it at the same time.
is Trump's war. He's it's unnecessary, and it's not just Trump's. It's Trump and Bibi's war. And Israel is a tiny little country. They can't fight Iran. They can bomb it. They can do anything, but they can't have a lasting effect. There's not enough Israelis. So they've now conned. They've been trying to con every president this century into fighting in Iran. Uh, this guy bit, whether for property or whatever, and it's a disaster. No one has ever bombed any country into submission. It only increases resolve. And Ukraine shows Iran is now Ukraine.
Yeah,
They are fighting as the underdog and they're resisting effectively.
yeah, yeah, certainly. And it's just so disheartening to read about the airmen that were shot down and the other aircraft, U.S. aircraft that have been shot down, which doesn't seem like the Iranians have lost their prowess in being able to take down U.S. aircraft. So the airman that is currently missing, I just hope they're found and, you know, if captured, that would be, 1979 all over again.
As a retired military guy, all I and our troops cared about, we knew when we enlisted we could go to war, but don't spend our lives cheaply. This guy is spending our lives cheaply, and Congress is allowing it to happen. For that, uh, Congress needs to be cleaned out. The Democrats are at least trying, but every Republican in Congress should be gone.
Clean house. Clean house.
Preferably with the D. If you can't
Yeah,
vote a D, vote an I or stay home.
right, exactly. No, you flew a lot of missions over in Vietnam, correct?
I, no, not a lot. And it's flying fighters is always dangerous by definition, but we lost a hell of a lot of aircraft in Vietnam. We learned a lot too. And this is no Vietnam. This is something, Vietnam had no economic effect on the world. This war has a huge economic impact on the world. Our ally, South Korea, I hear, is rationing gas or going to.
Right.
Other countries are doing the same. We are slowing down the global economy, and we're not benefiting. My last TikTok was, uh, we produce enough oil, but our refineries can't refine it. They're
Right.
designed for efficiency. Our East Coast refineries use Gulf oil. The largest refinery in the Gulf uses Gulf oil, not
Yeah,
our Gulf.
right.
And
Right.
that's the kind of chaos. The public could look away in Vietnam except for the draft. Now the public's involved because of gas prices. They don't much care about the troops. There's not enough troops mixed in the population for the civilians to care, sadly.
Yeah, we are isolated in a way. That's very true. My only day-to-day impact has been the gas prices, but yeah, that is really true. Much of the country may not be feeling the impacts of what this will all bring. The real impact may not come for years from now.
It'll
And
start now and come later.
yeah, so it'll be, what have we done to uh, raise the ire of Iran? Like, what is that going to mean for the future that we seem to have bombed them
Well,
unnecessarily?
we've created a new power in the Gulf,
Right. Which is not going to be good for anybody.
and I'll keep going back to Reagan. This country had the best of just about everything. We truly were an exceptional country in 1980. But what's happened since then is we've not invested in our social and physical infrastructure. We've not changed anything. Our people are no longer involved in the world. Listen to the evening news or any news online or whatever you'd like. You don't get European, Asian, African news. You get
No,
South American news. You don't even get that.
no, no.
And people, we're in the dark like mushrooms while our infrastructure, our flying is a joke. Our air traffic used to be the best in the world. We've never updated it. And Doge just fired the people that maintained it and got rid of them. So flying in the US is dangerous. And
I'm going to fly soon. Don't say that.
sorry,
No, it's okay. It's
fly
okay.
into Dulles. Don't fly into National.
I usually do. Dulles is usually my airport of choice, so
That's a good place.
okay. All right. No, but I know
National
what you're
is
saying.
dangerous and should be closed. That's me, but
Well, you said it, what I like what you said, the social and physical infrastructure. Did I say that
yes, yes.
correctly? That's so true. Especially on the social side as well. I mean, we see our infrastructure is crumbling in some
But our
places.
education and everything else is crumbling just as badly.
Well, under the political weight of some things that are going on as well. I mean, I don't think, certainly the colleges in Florida are not once what they were. And with the ratcheting up of, I guess, money sanctions against, universities like Columbia and others. That's deteriorating what those higher ed institutions are like. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a challenge.
I was just reading an article in the Richmond paper about how the lack of foreign students is costing Virginia more money. So it's
Great,
already affecting us.
definitely.
I'm telling for university instruction, I'm telling Americans to go abroad. It's cheaper and in often cases comparable or better.
It's definitely cheaper, that's for sure. But we're heading into Easter weekend, obviously. Do you celebrate at all? What are your Easter plans?
Nothing. Rest.
Me too. We don't either. We don't really celebrate. I know it's a holiday, a religious holiday. Given that, what stuck out for me again on my list of worst is the Pete Hegseth was, exalting that Americans must pray every day for a military victory in the Middle East in the name of Jesus Christ. And
I think the Pope, in the name of Jesus Christ, responded for
yes, and then the Pope responded, thank God. But again, this Christian nationalism at its worst and very scary. And we can't not end and not talk about the best, Pam Bondi being fired
him.
this week.
And Nome. Nome was
Yes.
this week as well, right?
No, I think it was I don't know. I have to look at the date. I think that was a couple weeks ago, but still, not since we've been recording these. So those two things have happened since we
And
last.
Tulsi better watch her back. She's the last one, isn't she?
Yeah, isn't there?
No, they have the education or
I
somebody in
think
there.
there's rumors going around of others in the cabinet that might get axed, like Kash Patel and Gabby Tolser and
Minority
Tolser. Yeah,
woman. Okay, what else?
I know. I don't recall the others, but it sounds like we may be rolling into some more cabinet turnovers, which is really interesting to me. But again, the flip side is they're not going to be replaced with anyone of any substance, or
Less qualified. They will be
they'll be
replaced by less qualified.
exactly. They're really scraping the bottom of the barrel now, right?
Well,
So,
I think the original appointments were the bottom of the barrel.
and now it's just down. It's just
I
down
mean,
from
look
there.
at Hegseth, a TV announcer,
Oh
a guy
God.
that was driven out of the National Guard.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
come on.
if you could pick who is the worst of the cabinet, who would you pick? That's a hard one. Putting you on spot,
The,
Hal.
what's the Secretary of State's name this 5 minutes?
Marco Rubio?
The guy that would be head of Cuba, dictator for life of Cuba. Yes, Marco Rubio.
Marco
He's
Rubio.
dangerous. He makes sense and he's a pretty face.
Yeah. That's true. I was gonna say RFK Jr. They're not even talking about getting rid of him, and I feel like he's the worst. Like,
Well,
you
he's
know?
killing people, but Trump's well in. I mean, Trump's responsible for over 1 million deaths last term. The vaccine deaths and all that other stuff, that's not going to phase felon Trump one bit.
No, of course not. But
And he's making noise and distracting from war and Epstein. So he's safe, I think.
yeah, talk about the crumbling of infrastructure, our healthcare infrastructure
It
is
wasn't
truly a
good, and
mess.
it's getting worse
It's
now.
getting worse. Yeah. So lots to look forward to, right? Right.
Wait,
Well,
what's the best? What's the best?
Pam Bondi getting fired. Well, at least this
Okay,
week,
I
that's the
have a
best.
best.
Okay,
Our
what's your best?
allies standing up and telling Trump no.
That was nice to see. Macron coming
That
out and
was a
pushing back.
great service to our country.
Our allies, our true allies,
Our
pushing
true
back.
allies saying, no, this is stupid.
They're like being the grown-ups, right?
Exactly.
They're
They
being
are
the
exactly
grown-ups
being the grown-up.
and
And felon
discipline.
Trump is throwing all kinds of tantrums and insults, and that's all it is. It's he's acting like the little child he is.
The allies, disciplining the unruly child. Oh boy, who
They may
uh,
save us yet.
yeah.
Anything else, or is our time
No,
up,
I think
man?
we're at time, I think, and of course, you gotta end on your thing.
See you in the street at the polls. I flip-flop those because we need to be in the street.
Okay. All right, till next time, everyone.
Take care.